participated. I think I'm missing somebody.
Here. So,
Is there anyone missing?
high school, middle school, intermediate school,
Yeah.
primary,
Yeah.
student,
Student.
Sam, Eric,
Mm.
and kick me out.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
I was thinking that with student we had 10, but I guess we only have 9. I don't know why.
You wanna start, Murder?
Sure, we need somebody to, Jay, would you take meeting minutes?
I will take meeting minutes.
Since leadership roles is down at number 3.
I mean, if you want, we can record too.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Jason could note taker. It's nice to have DAC back together. It's been a while. So I guess I want to welcome everybody to the November 6th meeting. I thought maybe we could go around and do some introductions. Okay. So I'm Margaret Bierman. I've been a parent here for 15 years. My current kiddo is Jonathan in 9th grade.
Kat Douglas. I have a 9th grader who's been here since kindergarten and a 6th grader who's been here since kindergarten. And I'm DAC now a couple of years.
I'm Jay, and we had kids here for about 13 years. Ended up totally having about 6 kids here, one way or the other. And currently kidless. Happy to be here helping out as a member of DAC at large.
Thanks for being
Yeah.
here.
I'm Ruthie. I've got Campbell in 8th, Penelope in 6th, and twins Arthur and June in 1st. And it's our 2nd year at RMSEL. And I was also a teacher, so I kind of have that background knowledge at Lynn's. And I'm excited to be here.
I'm Sam. I'm a special education teacher for 6th through 12th grade, board coordinator and the intervention and special education team lead. I've been at RMSEL for 2 years.
I'm Rachel Graham. I've got my Gwen is in 5th grade and Amber is in 1st. Both of them here since kindergarten, and I'm just excited to be here. My background's in early childhood, so yeah.
I'm Chad. I've been here as long as Pitch has.
My name is Paige. I also go by Arwen. I am a senior here and the student representative. I've been going here since kindergarten, so now 13 years.
So we have like a whole bunch of people who've been here since kindergarten, right? Like all of us, pretty much. Dinkle?
I'm Eric. I teach high school science and I've been here a while too, since 2010. Fall of 2010 was my first fall, and I took 1 year off in the middle of it.
We forgive you.
Are people coming in on this thing, or is this just recorded?
It's just recording us and it's streamed so people can watch it
Okay.
if they choose.
It's distracting.
And it follows you if you say anything.
No, that.
I mean, I can turn that off.
Well, that's what I was wondering. It's like, if no one's zooming in, we don't need to see ourselves. That's the only reason I was asking you. But if someone comes in.
That's technology for me, no problem.
Chad, did you have anything you wanted to also say in the welcome and introduction? Do you have
No, I appreciate everybody coming out to serve, a great diverse group of parent community, folks that are new to our community, folks that have been here since RMSEL was established. And I think not to be cliche, but the elephant in the room is my transition, and you all taking that leadership on to figure out what you want in that person coming on to join the team. And I think that'll probably be a big portion of the group's work this year. And then it feels really good to, not to live in the post-pandemic period, but RMSEL's kind of got everything back to where it was pre-disruption. Landmark trips, and our 11th, 12th graders going on a civil rights expedition, and our 8th graders going to DC now, which is an additional experience for them. And sailing's back, and I know that Jessie, our director of secondary education, she had a conflict today, couldn't be here, but she's working with some members of the community to relaunch the the auction, and so you all will play a pivotal role in supporting that process and continuing, and we'll be excited.
And a middle school dance.
And the
Yeah.
They're very big. They're so
Broken down.
Broke down and said
Down.
yes. 5 years. and then-
5 years, 13 years.
Yeah.
I figure
There was one. There was one a few years ago.
I,
There was one.
the time I was in the hospital.
No, I think the kids advocated for it, and your big old dad heart allowed them to go. Yeah.
Well, we did do it's really neat for the kids, the 8th grade experience to do their kind of like formal middle school dance in DC.
It was amazing.
Really
last year.
cool. So that was my compromise with them. I'm like, you're not having a dance. You're doing it in DC.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right, does anybody else have anything they want to add just to the beginning of the meeting? No? Okay. Review of the DAC bylaws, so somewhere, did you print them out?
I in front of my attached them to that email. I can
Okay, I
pull
have
them
it.
up and
Did everybody get a chance to at least peek at them, or do you have any questions about them? No, seem pretty straightforward?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then. Yes. Okay, then leadership roles. So go ahead, Chad, it looked like you were about to say something.
Nope, I think just the vote of the group would need to happen to establish, so we have chair
Chair
and vice chair
and a
and
secretary.
we need a secretary. So
Correct.
that is the only vacant leadership position, is that secretary, and it's the responsibilities in here are take minutes at meetings and distribute minutes to members.
For the secretary.
Correct.
Anybody want that job? Does anybody want that? No, you.
I can take that job.
Okay, then, I'll do this. I nominate Jay.
Can you nominate?
Why not?
I don't know.
I
Can I have a
second.
second? There we go. All in favor of that? Aye. All right.
Are we voting members?
You are voting members.
Okay, because I don't feel like I was before.
It's
You weren't.
different now. You weren't.
When they revised the bylaws,
They changed it?
everybody became a voting member,
Okay.
including
Yeah, because we,
staff role.
okay.
But we don't carry a majority.
Oh,
Right.
okay, so that's why.
Correct.
Oh, that makes sense.
When we changed the membership
Yeah.
allocations, it was so if staff become voting members, they don't have enough
Someone-
pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't just get. your
There was
way.
a lot, there's been a lot of divided votes over the year in the group.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right, we need a chair and a vice chair.
What do those roles entail? I wasn't sent the bylaws. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay.
And then there's also a past chair. That's the seat that is currently empty. Our past chair moved on and left RMSEL. And so we left the past chair spot open because she's not here. And so the idea would be that whoever's in the chair role this year, let's say anything that's probably here, would move to that. Chair manages and coordinates the work of DAC, facilitates group meetings, attends BOCES meetings, finalizes meeting agendas with input from members and from the executive director, distributes meeting agendas to members via an agreed upon communication mechanism. We tend to use email. Prior to scheduled meetings, reviews the monthly budget provided by the finance director. I have been getting those in the interim. Ensures that DAC is in compliance with the bylaws. The vice chair supports the chair in all tasks and activities, fills in for the chair in his or her absence, and assumes the chair position at the appropriate end of term.
But did I hear you, Chad, say that the secretary was the only one that needed to be voted on?
Yeah, I thought
Or-
you guys were chair and vice chair right
Coming
now.
into it, yes,
Okay.
coming into it.
Okay, do we need another vote or?
No.
Okay.
I don't need to. And so the idea would be I'll sit in the chair for 2 years and then I would move to the past chair spot. To take that, and then we would start that cycle.
Okay,
Because it says the vice chair supports the chair in all tasks and activities, fills into the chair in his or her, oh, you already read that.
Yep, and assumes the chair position is appropriate in the term.
Yep.
Unless there's a reason why that person can't, in which case, we would vote somebody else. Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody have questions about that?
Jay, I think I have old templates from when I was the secretary.
I have some too.
Okay,
Yeah.
send them to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Chad, do you want to go over the school performance framework? Is there
So
anything?
one other thing in the
you
DAC
want us to
bylaws
cover?
is your responsibility as serving on this committee is to review the school performance framework that comes out every year. And that framework then gets voted upon by the State Board of Education and locked. There's a process between now and the conclusion of, I'd have to get the exact date in December, which is called request to reconsider. We have not submitted a request to reconsider before because we would be requesting to reconsider the highest rating possible. And so part of your role as DAC members is to review this data. And if for some reason you had an interest in contesting it, most of the time that happens for districts that are placed in turnaround or priority improvement is they go into the state's watch list and then they start intervening in the sense that they would have a number of years to submit to see if their school would stay in operation, for example. So we've just never been put in that position that we've asked the state not to consider our initial rating. And so that would be my recommendation of the group, unless the group felt differently that you didn't want to accept the accreditation with distinction rating and wanted an alternative rating. So this is our just for folks new to the group, you get this every single year, and we typically get this late August.
So this is based on CMAS testing?
CMAS testing, SAT testing, financial audit that the state auditor reviews, and then submitting our school safety plans for review. So the finance and the safety are a series of check boxes. Obviously, the financial audit happens both with an auditor here and then an outside the CDE finance team, and then the safety is submitting that we meet the School Safety Act requirements, of which we do. And then it is test scores and participation in those specific test scores. So we, if you look down there mid chart on the front page, we meet the 95% participation rating, which is a good thing, meaning that our test data is reliable, that it's not built on a sample set of, some upheaval within the school community where there's a large faction of families that decide to forego taking the test for a reason. Our advocacy of years past is kids are going to have to take tests when they go into their professions, whether those are professional tests within their craft or whether that's some type of certification or exam. And this is a time where kids sit for a period of up to 3 days and take that exam. Stinks for administration because we're managing tests for 3 full weeks, which we prefer not to do, but the impact to kids is, pitch when they take the SAT, it's one single day. So that's where this data comes from. Nothing alarming in here, pretty consistent with where we've historically achieved. We achieved 74% pre-COVID. Post-COVID, we achieved at 82%. It was actually our highest ranking ever. And then we're right there at 76.3%. I will say the caveat is they are talking about revising the accreditation bands for this in the future. So it would be something to watch as a DAC in the event that the accreditation rating would change and you might want to go through that request.
Do you know what have they telegraphed what the new band would?
They have not.
What the low?
They have not. It's in committee discussion and then CDE board will have to adopt that. So I would say it's probably, it's on a scale of, large scale organizations move at a rate that is probably quite a few years away from adjusting.
I have two questions.
Sure.
So on the first page, where around the middle, it says test participation rates. Right?
Mhm.
And we have the meets 95, meets 95. And then right underneath it says low total participation. Are they saying just that we're small? Is that what that is essentially saying?
Yeah.
So our participation rate is good, but we have a low total count.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay. Okay, and then the second question I have is down in elementary, that approaching, that one approaching.
So
Do
if
we
you
know what
go,
that's indicative of?
so if you go to the second page of the framework, these are broken out into, the second page is elementary. If you look in the top right-hand corner, the third page is middle school. And the third page is high school.
Yeah.
So it's broken out by each of those school levels. If you look down there at academic growth, to meet or exceed, you have to have a 50th percentile or better. And so we are 0.5 of a point from that 50th.
Which could be
percentile.
one kid not taking the test, right?
Could be one.
Or two.
Because the count rate of students that for academic growth, if you look at the count rate for academic growth versus the count rate of testing.
Yeah.
This is only counting students that have taken it within the organization for consecutive years. So this test covers 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And so academic growth doesn't account for your 3rd graders because they don't have a previous data
Right.
point. So the sample set gets
So the sample set's really
a
small.
little bit smaller. And then if you look at that below that in math, 3 percentage points below the 50th percentile.
Mhm.
And then if you flip that to like the middle school and you look at those specific numbers, you're seeing our kids, we get into that bigger sample set. So we start meeting additional reporting requirements. And so if you look at down there in academic growth, you have 131 total students who are above the 50th percentile. And then if you look below that, we also have a portion of our students that would identify that are minority students, which are non-white students, multiple races, Asian Pacific Islander, Black, Indigenous people of color, all get put into that category to break that score out. And our kids of color are accelerating at a percentile above their all student rates. And so that's what that data means. So the big hope, specifically with elementary school growth, is we broke out the kindergarten classroom into the two 1 to 13s post-COVID, was to try to get an uptick in kids adjusting to being in the classroom and getting accelerated early on. So we're not going to see those particular kids test for 2 more years because they're first graders right now. The second graders are not tested, and then their first data point is 25, 26. So some long range strategic thinking there, but we'll see if it happens. And while we want student achievement to be measured with that group of 3rd graders when they get there, those decisions were primarily made based on observational data from our staff saying this group and middle school students were the most impacted by this period of disruption. And so we just can't have kids start school without having school experiences. And to date, I don't think Christine and Bailey are gonna come argue that they want class size of 26. So I hope it's something that can stick around and the data will support it at some point because the subjective data supports it.
Can we go to the high school page for a second?
Sure.
I just want to make sure I understand, the only way we are judged in the high school is based on PSAT and SAT,
Correct.
not on any other standardized test, right?
Correct.
So then. what
Except
is-
for,
Because I'm looking at that PSAT, SAT math.
Yep.
Which is what,
could be, and it might not be lumped into the report card because I think they tossed it out of the report card, but they haven't costed out of us requiring to do it is the 11th grade CMAS
Science.
Yeah, that's what I was confused
Yeah,
on.
and they don't report on it anymore, but we still have to take it.
So fun.
Who needs science?
I know.
We can just make stuff up.
Isn't that what you do? Okay. Have we done any analysis of like, for example, looking at that PSAT, SAT math being approaching versus needs? Have we ever gone back and looked at like, are there subjects that we're not covering that they are getting tested on? No, there's just the timing of the tests.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking on the high school page,
I know that at least
Fourth high school
personally,
page.
high school page for the PSAT math, sort of toward the bottom of the table.
yeah, I know at least personally because because of COVID, we missed out on algebra 1. But I know that since then, every grade below myself has taken algebra 1, so I think that might have impacted.
Could be. It could be, I'm just wondering if there's something that, because I know like the test also, if you take the SAT as a senior, you take it in like December, right?
Well, some people have already taken it.
Correct, and then some won't take it, so I was just wondering if it's like a test timing thing.
So this
You
data
know?
set only reports
The April.
so the growth data group would be the 10th and 11th graders.
The current 10th and 11th graders.
Current 11th and 12th
12th
graders,
graders.
because they have to take it as a 9th grader to get a data point. And then the first scoring of the 10th graders is what they measure growth from, and then they measure it one more time. That's why
Okay.
the sample set is,
Is small, okay. That helps things.
but I can pull the 10, 11, 23, 24, 22, 23 overview.
That would be
Bring it.
great, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think giving it some context,
Right,
would be
because it may
handy.
be fun. For all I know, where it might-
Well, it would be helpful if we
It would
had
be
a
helpful.
a historical context that we were
Yeah,
keeping track of.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to put that into a spreadsheet or we can.
It's done. I mean, it's a form from SAT. I'll just bring it to next week. Save you.
that would be great, thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
What's the workforce readiness piece?
Graduation,
That's all it's really measuring?
graduation, and then it is all of you go to the back page. And so it'll show you how they score that. If you go to the final page before the RFP, you look into that section that says post-secondary and workforce readiness. That's how all those scores get calculated. So it's the SAT scores that we just talked about, your dropout rate, your matriculation rate, and your graduation rate.
And the dropout rate is defined how?
The dropout rate is defined by, if you go to the table before that reference table of disaggregated graduation rates. So if a student leaves and then doesn't complete in our program or doesn't complete in another program, they would be considered a dropout. And we have no students.
And they will track it from one school to another?
So the idea that, we don't know where kids go and things is a big misnomer, because there's a process that we have to go through to verify students in CDE. So if a student leaves, we have to work with the receiving school to make sure that they get coded and changed. CDE's running around tracking those kids. This idea, like in districts of like, we don't know where these kids are going. Chris cringes when she hears that, because she's like, no, I know where every kid goes because I have to load it into a system. And then that last page is nice if you want to see how you would have to get to those score groups to be in a specific category. So like if you look at that academic growth one on the second one, the reason we're approaching that one is because we're above 35 but below 50. To be meeting, we would be above 50 but below 65, and then that's where you get points to the right.
I motion that we accept Chad's recommendation and do not contest the rating.
I second that.
And for further? Yep. Anybody opposed?
Okay.
Okay, the biannual community survey from last year.
So the reason I included that, and you're welcome to DAC, is so you have a very comprehensive look at what parent respondents are interested in for the program as early as late last spring. We've typically given that every 2 years, and I think that will be a valuable tool to give to the search firm. CLT, the team of teacher leaders went through that in our retreat in June, so they were able to look at the subcategories and make decisions around PD work and things to incorporate in their classroom. But that's a good, useful tool for this group to be informed with. It's been pared down over time, and I know it still seems like it's a lot of data. I consider anything in there significant below 75%, because it seems to be a high satisfaction rating across the board. So areas that stand out to me are typically areas that score below 75%. The one thing we don't give to DAC or to the staff or to the it'll be up to the board to give to the search firm, but we don't give the open comments because typically names are used. That's less than. We can do a word search and you can have it with my name. I don't care, but it's just sometimes folks are.
Raw.
Yeah, so it's a good, there's no specific action they need to take in. A couple things for this group that we've done over time is if the tool continues to be used with SurveyMonkey, there was some criticism of the tool during the 2019 school year that it went out and you could basically take it from any IP address, this IP lock. So you could take it here on this network, you could take it on your work network, you could take it on your cell phone, you could take it on this. Interestingly enough, when we locked it to one email per household. So if you are a combined household, you get one response. If you are a divided household, you get 2 responses. It's not a perfect system, but it was a way to try to collect singular voice. And the first year that we did it locked, we got 141 respondents, and the highest number we got before was 110. So it worked better. And then that was also at a time where there was community turmoil, a little bit with things going on. And then last year we used the same system, the same tool, the same email that you got one opportunity to take it, and we got 86 respondents. So it'd be nice to get some more respondents in the future, but I don't think it's a terribly bad set of data. And so if there's anything that you find in there that you want to be addressed by the search firm or by new leaders, it's a good starting point. I'm sure they're going to do some other surveys and things, but I hope that they can use some of those tools to take a look.
I think one of the things that would help too is when the survey goes out, it would, and maybe we do this and I just don't remember, would be to say to people, look, it goes to the alphabetically the first email address in your house. So like in my house, it goes to my husband, not to me, because his email is alphabetically before mine. So, as a family, it helps to know like, oh, I should ask my husband if he got that thing that we both need to sit down and do. Yeah. And so I wonder like if it's getting lost in some places. So maybe if we remind people of that might help us.
I know how
keep
many
up those numbers.
students we have. How many families do we have?
330 something.
That sounds pretty accurate.
I want to say it's
I
like
don't think I can
330.
quickly get it from the spreadsheet. I will get an answer from Chris.
I mean, in the past, it's hovered around 335. It may or may not be exactly. Yeah. Let's see. The other thing we could do, related to the searches, it might be useful for us to all sit down with this survey and see if there are things we would add to it. Yeah, or change about it. I don't know if we want to do that today, or do we want to do that?
When's the next time it's supposed to go out? Next year?
Yeah, but if we want to give it to the search firm, we would need to have those notes by probably December. There's two things, right? It wouldn't go out till next year, right? Because we did it
We've
last year.
typically done these on
Every
2-year
other year.
cycles to try to get the highest return rate and not to be in the community every time, and it has seemed reasonable. I think they will be creating different surveys to send out regarding this process. My intent was that they had these results, so that they might want to think about that in the formulating of interview processes and things, because it seems like there, as with anything, there's areas that parents want to continue, and I hope that they can extrapolate that from that data set, and then also areas where parents may be looking for change and improvement.
My thinking on that was that looking at it again with a fresh pair of eyes might prompt us to give the search firm some input. That's not to change the survey right now. If there were a list of things that sort of like, oh, these are the things we want to make sure the search firm is also taking into account.
So you
I
all-
don't know that that would be the case. I'm just saying.
You're not bound by the same group of bylaws of like the board. You all are welcome to meet electronically, like if you wanted to create a shared document, you all could work in that document collectively outside of the meeting time for efficiencies, and just know that that document, in the event asked for, is an open record.
We can do that, and the other thing we can do is we can hold a work group meeting anytime we want to discuss. If they want to do that.
So you're thinking provide a list of questions for the search firm to consider if they were doing surveys or other things?
I am making the assumption that the search firm is going to engage with us based on what Dr. Olson said at the board meeting.
Okay.
Where she said she wanted DAC involved in this process. I am assuming that that means we will engage with the search firm. And so my thought was just to like have not even necessarily to hand over, but at least to have thought about some of these things and some of these questions that as we engage with them, we might go, this might be a really good thing to ask the people. That they might not think of, just because this place is so different from a quote unquote regular, right, school, that there may be things that we would think to ask that they would think that's where I was thinking. Thoughts about how you guys want to do that? We can post it and we could make notes. Want to do that?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I like that idea.
Okay, let's do that.
Next piece of business is just for transparency. It has been posted. It's posted as the center point on the website. It's been distributed. Is the request for proposal for the executive search consultant to be hired. It's got the timelines in there, what they're looking for, evaluation of process, and then legal terms around what will take place next. So you all have a copy of that. There's no action of this group on that because it's a decision of the board to hire an executive consultant, but just so you're informed parties, it's in there.
Do you know if the window's open, are they getting firms?
So I received an inquiry question yesterday from a firm, and so what they'll do is the next step in this is collect all the questions by tomorrow at 3, and then create a response document for those questions to be posted on Friday, so that anyone buying for the contract can see the questions of anyone that has been asked. It'll get posted there. But it's like, if you pull the website up right now, your eyes go right to the center box. Or hopefully your eyes go right to the center box.
So this puts the board behind where they had originally said they wanted to be in their meeting.
I mean, the services, they're gonna start The
December 11th, right?
December 11th, yeah.
Right, which originally they had said they wanted to have a firm selected in October. That was what they said at the first BOCES meeting this year. So it does put them a little behind. So instead of having someone hired in the February timeframe, the last thing the board said was they were shooting for April, right? That's what they said.
I think so.
Okay. I'm just making sure we're all on the same page. Okay,
And then as a comment on that one. The hope had been that if we had someone in here earlier rather than later, there would be an opportunity for that person to learn from China.
yeah, run in parallel. Has the board, I did not hear anything from the board that would preclude an existing staff member from applying. Is that correct?
Well, once or my wife's in overseas, getting things and having to be dead at the same time. Okay, oh, good. Sorry, repeat that.
There's nothing I have not heard anything from the board that would preclude in board meetings that would preclude an existing staff member from applying for the job. So, right. And I also didn't hear there would be any preference for that either. It's a wide open search, right?
I think that's a next business item on here for you guys. That's a good segue. So for transparency purposes, I was asked to put together a draft job posting that would be submitted to the search firm to give them a place to start from and change and adjust. The last 1, 2, 3 pages of this are that. And call it version 1, draft 1. The board has a copy of it. The search firm will get a copy of it. There's no action of this group, but what this group can do is give feedback to this, of which can be submitted to the board and submitted to the search firm. And so know that this is best starting position that we're currently in. And so the intent this afternoon, I want to be as helpful and respectful kind of simultaneously. So if you have questions, I can come back and answer those questions, but I also don't want to sit at the table and facilitate the conversation or have you not say something because I'm sitting at the table and I'm not going to go downstairs and watch because I'm not going to have a computer. And Trish is in Amsterdam now. She's in Munich yesterday. I'm not going to go home and watch this respectfully. So what I shared with Margaret was I was going to step out, let you guys go through the posting and make comments, track those as you see fit. I'll send you this as a Word document.
That'd be great.
It's a open records document anyway. And then you could make recommendations that you want to then provide and
also
do
if
that.
you have any collective questions, I'll take them and I'll get
Well,
answers.
here's the deal. I'm gonna go downstairs and work. And I'll come back up and answer any clerical type things and not be involved in.
Something you just don't
notes or
understand.
conversations. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. Okay.
You guys have the floor. Knock on the office door and come get me whenever.
I'll text you.
That works.
Okay.
Thank you guys for starting. It's good to have you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Chad.
And then I'm just leaving that live because it's an open meeting, so have at it.
Thank you. We've never had a DAC meeting without him. It's all okay, yeah, so Chad and I met just about an hour ago, and just sort of talked about this process. I mean, I think we're all sort of seeing this for the first time, so I thought maybe we would kind of go through it, and my understanding is that at the BOCES meeting, the board had asked Chad to put together a preliminary one that's sort of based on what he does as the basis for starting. And there may be things that we want to add, right? Things like that. So, suggestions for how we go through it. I mean, the first part is about the organization, and I think it's pretty straightforward. It talks about how Denver or how RMSEL is constructed. You'll notice that he's already removed in that first organization overview, Cherry Creek and Douglas County. Because this is their last school year getting preference into the lottery. And the PEBC, does everybody know what the PEBC is? And then Outward Bound. I think the we place a high value on list is pretty, the only thing that I see that, oh no, it is there, field work. I mean, it seems like a comprehensive list of what our big, our focus is, right? Interdisciplinary learning, collaborative learning, active engagement, development of deep knowledge. And it says high order thinking. I guess the one thing that we like to talk about around here is critical thinking, right? And I just wonder about maybe changing.
Yeah, I prefer the high order thinking.
You prefer high order thinking? Okay. Service.
I mean, I'm not doing the vote here, but that would be my preference.
I'm not familiar with the postings as they usually are for any of the positions, but is this pretty standard for how all postings go?
Here at school. So if you ever go out to RMSEL.org and look at the employment page, if there's a job posted, it'll say, I don't know, oh, if we were, God forbid, trying to replace Tinkle, there would be something that, you know, said high school crew leader and science, right? And then it would have a link to a job description that is multiple pages that covers like academically, you know, the crew trip piece, the field work piece, you know, that.
And it starts with the organization overview as well?
Yeah, they all kind of do. Yeah. We're not allowed to go in the area. Put a job thing out there.
All of these things are just bullet points and can be discussed in greater detail. I mean, things like,
Correct.
you know, character development is, I think, one of the critical things that I have appreciated about RMSEL. And just to have one word in there, character.
Yeah. Do we want to see these expanded on? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm not saying that from the viewpoint of a bullet point, it may be important. It's just, you know, you don't want to get too worried.
Yeah, but I do think that going at least slightly into it would be impactful, because when I think of this, I don't know what they would qualify as community engagement in their mind as someone from outside of RMSEL, because it does say a service and character, but community engagement could also be outside, or it could be stuff like the high school community engagement. So I think expanding it, like even just like a couple sentences would be impactful.
Yeah, I mean, just even like, I agree with you completely on that one, community engagement with.
Or by, or with and by, yeah.
You guys have all said service and character development, but it only says
Character, I was
Right,
just
that's,
gonna-
yeah, and I was about to.
Yeah.
We
Well,
could say character
and it's-
development.
And is that service learning? Because that's,
Yeah, or is it
A little
like,
bit more descriptive.
Yeah, so I think there's multiple components, right? There's service-led leadership, which we talk about here a lot, right? And so,
Okay, let's just say service-led leadership and character development.
I like that wording a lot better.
All right, community engagement with and by, Arwen, you were going somewhere with that.
yeah,
well, I suppose, I'm sorry, or before we go past that, service-led leadership and character development is students and staff.
yeah, it would be student.
And we need to somehow say it's students and staff, right? So we place a high value on teaching our kids that, but also living it as the adults and delivery, yeah. Or maybe somewhere, maybe we need to say we place a high value on this, you know, for students and staff.
Integrity.
I would also maybe include the parents in that too, because I think a lot
Yeah.
of parents also include themselves. in
Correct.
this survey.
You know,
So
this,
an additional bullet point where we say, that these character traits are encouraged at all levels, students, staff, and parent.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I was thinking that, how does this work? Well, it gets posted, this gets posted, right, all around. The purpose of this is to,
This
this
is going
well, like
from the
one,
board to the search firm.
yeah. And once we're looking for executive directors, it will get posted on all the applicable sites, including our site.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's for that purpose or whether it's for educating the search firm about what we're looking for.
Oh,
So that's how I interpreted it from the board.
he said it was a draft posting,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the search firm will ultimately use it
so they're gonna,
to post.
They might.
so, well, I guess just what I was gonna say is, well, here's how it works to me, it seems like, is people will look at this. They first will skim it, then they're gonna do what? Go right to the website,
Yep.
and they're gonna see more about this place with the website, so I had the question, how is the website?
The website needs some updating.
It really,
It's-
like the last,
It's
Because-
way out of date.
It is
Because
way out of
that's,
date.
I mean, to me, it seems like this is one thing, but in the real world, that's what people are gonna do. Before anybody's gonna move forward, they're gonna like,
I think,
oh, and then they're gonna go right there and go, what is this place doing? And then likely they're gonna be talking to people that they know.
So
I
A,
don't-
completely agree.
So I just wanted to see, I guess that's why I just throw that on the table.
No, I think
We should
that's
do a
important.
website thing before we post for executive director.
Lindsay, would you be willing to go get one of the brochures we hand out at open house? Well, no, I updated it. Anyway, not I'm talking about the colored folded thing. Do you have, is there one handy that we can look at?
And I didn't mean to throw. loose.
No, it's okay, it's.
No, but
I just
you're
threw-
right,
I think
though.
you're right.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
On the
This one,
other hand,
exposure when
I
was
agree,
looking,
but I think
was
that this
having
is-
For now,
Yeah,
I
And
just
also-
wanna throw it on the
Like, it was
agenda
like,
or
I didn't thought it was
how we deal with it.
So the thing that I
It makes you
wanna,
stop in your tracks for a second.
yeah, the thing that I wanna, so there's now a link to that brochure on the website. But I think the website should actually be the brochure.
yeah.
It should, the content of the brochure should be on the
So we-
website.
Right,
So, I'm
Yeah.
already talking, at least partially, I'm talking with Jesse and I'm about to talk to Eli about at least adding field notes, so I could talk to both of them more about just a total update and overhaul of the website too,
Mhm.
because I've had ideas about that, because I've seen the same website like as long as I've been here, and
Right.
like not a single picture has changed,
Right,
so yeah. I can talk.
And we have so many updated pictures and experiences.
in kindergarten.
right. There are a lot of things. It needs a refresh.
And again, I didn't bring it up, I just think they're gonna be sort of a,
That's a good point.
Yep.
it's a side by side deal, it's not,
No,
this
they're
is the
gonna-
only thing people
somebody
read through
new,
and they go,
it- yeah,
doo-doo-doo.
It made me hesitate.
Yeah.
Every person that's gonna look through this is gonna go, especially if they're, out of RMSEL applicants, they're gonna first go to the website and then they're gonna do word of mouth and.
Why-
and that-
Is any-
that's
Why
what-
don't you set up a meeting for you, me and Eli? Okay.
Yeah.
When there's nothing there.
Because I have access to modifying certain parts of the
Bad, but
website,
needs
but
to
not
be
all of
more.
it. and Eli could
Well, it's
do
got a lot
that.
of references to 2021, that's all I can tell you.
Oh,
A lot of, it's like,
No,
some
it
of
just
it
has-
is back at 2020,
Uh,
where it's like we got frozen in time.
Yeah.
What's the like timeline for that before you think this would like get posted? Like when would that be like updated?
So that's a big job.
That's
updating
a
the
really big,
website.
job. Yeah.
Well, it depends.
So you
If
gotta
we
outsource
take
that.
the content, which is more. So I think that when I look at the website to me is very dry.
Mhm.
And it's not, doesn't use engaging language. But when we did the brochure, we went totally the other way. And we made it a marketing piece. And so I
With
think,
quotes from former
that's what it should
students
be.
and.
correct, it should be. And so one simple step would be to try just taking what's in the brochure and swapping it out, right, for what's there.
Is that simple though?
It is.
Well, the other side of this is, as DAC with an actual budget, we can discuss hiring a
Can we
firm
hire
to help.
someone?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be my vote.
Well, because
I don't know that this year is a good year to do that. Budgets are very, very
Massive,
tight.
but just like a small contract to do
Well,
a
even,
small update.
yeah, because within the framework of that website, they give you a lot done. Right, because it's got bones, whatever.
The bones are
Change
clear.
Yeah.
No, if all
just
you wanna
content.
do is change the text.
And-
Like Eli can
and
do it, I have
pictures.
access to the website to change certain pages.
But you
And
guys have
maybe,
full-time jobs.
and maybe also,
Just saying,
maybe also it's fine too, is like as is also okay.
I think it.
But-
I think you're right.
I
And
think-
Sam identified that when she looked at it, it made her pause.
Oh,
I
when you
think
wanted
that
to
when
accept your job?
Years ago,
And that was
yeah.
2 years ago. So now
Couple
the
years
pause.
ago,
is
That
like,
could
it's
have-
like, and like luckily,
Like,
Lindsay and everybody were like.
No, I
so
was
amazing. I was like,
understanding the
okay.
clause of here.
But I think the language in that
Well,
is the
this is
language we want.
much, I mean, this on a website, like you're saying,
much more engaging.
much more engaging
Right.
and more up to date. I mean, even just to have pictures that kind of scroll through of the things that are happening here that sets us apart from like
Yes.
sitting at a desk.
Yes,
Cause
Well, and
exactly.
it also would address our other, you know, as a school, a big thing is enrollment, especially the high school. An update would have a dual purpose of helping
It
it be
would.
more
Yeah,
attractive.
I agree because with high schoolers, I think the students themselves are more likely to look at the website
I agree.
when they're trying to apply here. So I think by having the students themselves looking at something that looks more up to date and more engaging and doesn't kind of look like it's made from the nineties, I think
Right.
that definitely would benefit at least the high school version.
Well, and the funny, I wonder if, and if you set up a meeting for you, me and Ian, maybe we could talk about whether there's an opportunity to make that either an enrichment where we get some kids to help, or I know there are some sections that are protected on the website in terms of what people can, like I can touch the DAC tree, right? But I can't touch things outside the DAC tree. So maybe we can talk to Eli about how do we tackle this so it's not a big burden, and I have all of that, since I created that, I have that electronically that we can cut and paste from.
I'm sure there's a parent that is probably very
Yeah.
well equipped with.
It's not,
There's a parent-
it's the access issue of
Right.
giving
But there's also, if we
giving access to certain
do-
parts of the website.
if we do the enrichment, I do think that there's a lot of students who are the tech savvy, and especially because we
Right,
did the
I agree.
portfolio websites. I think that there's also a lot with
Mhm.
that. So I think if we had Eli facilitate it, I don't even think we need to hire someone from outside.
Yeah.
If you look at
So
our
let's-
portfolio websites,
They
there
were
is a
great.
high level of like craftsmanship.
So let's you and I chat with her about that. And
So you
see
feel
what
like
we
a
can
low
do.
tech school is good students who might want to go into a career of tech, like an
Right, an
opportunity, to,
Right,
like show their.
Well, how
skills in
cool
that
would
area.
be on the bottom of the
Something like
website to say built by students?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be
built
cool.
by students,
That's like
Right,
really-
our website built by students,
right,
yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And talk about authentic audience, I don't know, we could explore that, and maybe just to bring us back, but I was just thinking, I'm looking at this and going, this is one side. But people are certainly gonna go and they're gonna see what the website says to compliment, if
Well,
we
and-
truly value it, it will show up on the
the
website.
other thing I think we're missing from the website, since we're on this anyway, is. So if you go and look at certain schools, I don't know that every school has it, but some schools have done a really good job of sort of clicking on, this is your kid's pathway through this program. And so you see, like at this age, they're taking these things and studying these other things, right? And especially at the high school level and even the middle school level, I think parents are looking for that.
Mhm.
Right now, speaking as high school parents, right? When you're in middle school here, the high school is a black hole. When you're in elementary school, the middle school is a black hole. We've lost some of that that cross pollination that we used to have. And that's one of the things, I don't know how we get it in here, but it is one of the things that needs to come back that we lost at COVID.
Yeah, even just, and I know that expeditions change, but kind of a general
But it could
reference
be an
to.
examples of,
Yeah,
So that's-
yeah,
cause like when Ronan started getting the syllabuses for high school, he was like, oh my God, do you see all the things I'm gonna get to learn? Like, and you know, Ronan, like. But like that excited him.
Yeah,
So if I
Right.
could have shown him that in 8th grade, the summer would have been a lot smoother.
right. And so like we could build,
Oh,
we
yeah.
could build that table of what those pathways look like. So I think there's lots of opportunities. We could look at some other websites to look at some cool things that they've done to do the attract
Mhm.
attract the people thing. I think that was an excellent point.
But, and then back to it, I think you guys are right on, like, service learning and character development. I mean, just a few more words, not to make it too cumbersome, but it looks.
Well, just to wrap it up, community engagement with and by.
Oh my gosh, it'd just be a community engagement with and by like the students.
Student staff.
That's why I
student
think-
staff and families.
Yeah, that's why I agree with Margaret, where I say, where it says we place a high value on blank, we should say for student, staff and parent, we place a high value. Like just have it at the beginning and then it
top.
just encapsulates all of this.
Mhm. Because we are all constantly learning. I mean, even staff are learning, right? In the interdisciplinary thing.
I don't know how you word it. When I read community engagement, I think outside of the school. But also, how do you say that you have community within the school and want to build on that?
So you think most people look at that as,
Mhm.
Well, that's
As
just when
a-
I read that, I think
Outside.
you're connecting outside in the community.
which we are for some things, right? By
Right.
going to community experts and things like that.
Yeah.
I think we'll just go over that better in the like short summary or whatever we want to call it.
Maybe like, maybe I hear what you're saying. It made me think of, when I explain this place to people, I say it's small, and the smallness by design is a huge value. It's like every kid, we know their names, like that's
Right.
very different, you know, than,
And every first grader knows like high school.
Yeah.
My kids do.
so it's like, how do we say that, like,
Yeah, how do
I
you?
don't know how to articulate
could
that,
do
but I think I know what you're saying, tight knit.
Tight-knit community, yeah.
That wouldn't be a red flag though, would it?
Right. Watch out. Are you sure?
Or,
You know, like,
right,
community, yeah, I don't know, I would think about it.
but you could do something like the school community and the broader community.
Yeah.
Right,
Within the school.
and,
We can tie in like collaborative learning into like the community aspect too, because there's so much like interdisciplinary between the
true.
grades of like high schoolers doing things. with
Yeah,
kindergartners and-
Yeah.
And I'm working with Justy about mixing like junior and senior and like freshman and
And sophomore.
sophomore for some classes so that they like have humanities together rather than just being split in their grades.
yeah.
So.
She and I talked about that last week. I think that's a really great idea. Okay, so we need to explain the community.
That is so unique. I
it
feel like
is
it
unique.
is different than how it is at other
Yeah.
schools.
I think that's like the main takeaway too, is like how to distinguish ourselves, because it
Right.
really is, they're not going into a normal school setting. You know,
Right.
this is very.
And having
Well-
read principal things before, like, this is the list that everybody gets.
Yeah.
So like, how do you
Mhm,
make it unique to RMSEL? Because
mhm.
this is the language that everybody's using, but it is different here. So how do
Well,
you?
right.
how do you make
Service
it
and
different?
character are
That's what I
different
yeah.
here, right? And adventure and field work are, those are our.
But I wouldn't know
favorite
what
things.
field work was
Exactly.
necessarily if I wasn't
But-
here.
Right.
But it's like Eric said, I mean, anybody's gonna go to the website. The website's where we can post pictures.
Yes.
And
Links
make
to
it.
it.
Well,
jump
Right,
out.
yeah,
and I
like we hover
think-
over this and a description or a picture or something that scrolls so that it sets it apart from.
And maybe we could look, if you look in the brochure, we might have, I'm sure, some words around adventure and field work. Because one thing that we tried to convey in there was, this isn't a school where it's regular school and we do
Right.
a couple of
Field trips.
field trips or
adventure,
something,
yeah.
right? It's a whole different thing, so. So field work and community service, right, we'll work on those.
It's almost as if
I
you
don't
would
see-
need to describe to detail what expeditionary learning is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and why
Instead
it's
of a
different
same.
here, because
Right.
there are other schools that do expeditionary learning, but
It's
they
not
don't
the
have the same.
Well, they call them.
So what about a
Right.
brief,
Right.
what about a brief paragraph about our history, a founding EL member? Who still go on?
I think that, I feel like they talk about that.
So.
Yeah.
I think
I
that was at the
think-
beginning of this.
Oh, at the beginning of the curve, or the article.
That was the survey.
I think though that,
In the search
I
for,
think we need to explain EL
yeah, and I heard someone say why we're different,
and why we're different, right?
because it's not, yeah.
Because the adventure side and how it's integrated with the academics isn't.
You could even do a little example. I mean, my favorite one was always like the geology one from third grade. Right, where, you know, the kids study geology and then they take a crew trip and they dig up fossils and like you see all that so when you see interdisciplinary here. That means something to some people, but it's still different from what it means here. Right. And so we need to put our spin.
Yeah.
We need to put our spin on these
Was
words.
an outsider to like.
Yeah, to be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Here's what it means, yeah.
Okay. The other thing I can,
So what we could do is a format, we could say interdisciplinary learning. Hyphen, and then, but different than what you may be thinking, or something like that.
Or at RMSEL this means.
At
or this
RMSEL.
looks
where
like.
RMSEL this means, yeah.
I like that.
Mhm.
Or this looks like, at RMSEL this looks like.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
I will ask Chad for the Word doc. And I'll post it like as a Google Doc or something that we can all comment in and share.
We'll have a little, a DAC with
Okay.
This is just my editing eye, but it does say down here, reflects the diversity of 5 sponsoring districts.
Yeah, it should be free. Where do you see that?
It's just. a
second to last
paragraph.
paragraph, second to last line.
Thank you.
There's another.
I would also almost say, it said that the campus was recently renovated, but I would almost wanna say,
And expanded.
yeah, but I would also wanna say like kind of how, cause just saying that could mean like, oh, we like got, yeah, new bathrooms.
Yeah.
But I would say like, got like an entire new wing.
Am I the only one who misses the trailers? I mean, come on.
Yes, you are. The sixth graders who spent all of
Oh, gosh,
2020 and
we-
2021 in those do not.
Those
miss
were our
those.
kids.
I only had to be in there once.
And they just went like this in the
Oh, they
trailers.
just lived in those
They just lived
trailers.
in the trailers, came into the gym to go to the bathroom.
That might explain some of the behaviors.
It might, really.
They were the trailer kids.
They were the kids. Okay, so if we look at the position overview,
Page 12 should be separate. First line.
where we are.
Upgrade from K9.
I like the mentioning of the inspirational leadership. I think that's really important.
I would almost not want to add strong passion for expeditionary learning, because if they're not from an expeditionary learning standpoint, they might not, even if we write about it, they might not have that passion already for it, but like a willingness, or rather than just an already proven passion.
I think the concern, and I think the reason it's here, is probably that if you get someone who doesn't know it, they may try to fundamentally change it.
See, they have to do their research before. They
Yeah.
have to-
They have to
they
buy
have to,
in.
like,
They
go
have to buy in. They may not
explore
have
what
done
it
it,
is.
but they have to buy into it.
Yeah,
Because we wouldn't want them to come in like, you know, with a STEM school. So the one thing that I don't see in this position overview that I would like to see is, and I don't know how we add to it, but this is all true. This is where I want the community engagement piece with families.
Well, he says thoughtfully engages a broad spectrum of stakeholders, teachers, students.
To make
parents,
and
the board.
implement decisions,
Mhm.
to make and implement decisions, but that's different than just
Being a part of
building
it.
community.
Right.
And
And you and I had
And
plenty of
we've had-
discussions about that.
we have
so.
had a lot of discussions about that. So I would like that to be reflected in here somewhere. That whoever that is understands that, you know, we're trying to keep and build a community, and we have multiple levels of community, right? We have, the teachers have a community, and then you have your crew community, then you have your school level community, then you have the school community, and then you have like with the parent community, like all of that community, right, needs to be something that this person engages.
I mean, he's got the community relations in the second to last paragraph, is just kind of a throw off. But you could add.
Yeah, I think I want to, but again, I could read that as I interact with people out there
Right,
who
I'm
will
saying-
donate to here. I could
This would
read
be a
it
place
that
that we
way.
could change that and
Yeah.
expand it a bit.
I think so.
I mean, I don't want to change this last line because that's
Correct.
pretty much.
Want it as a
punchline,
key
but-
responsibility.
Has there ever been a PTO or a PTA?
Yes,
Is
there's
that-
been a pack.
There's been it's gone through multiple gyrations.
I wonder if
My
that's,
sister actually founded it.
I'm just wondering if that's the avenue that we want to look at for community wise, if that's something that we want to build upon.
I think that if you want to do that, it would have to be next year.
Yeah, that's not gonna be a chat thing.
Maybe it's something,
Maybe.
if that's something
I've
we're
heard that from a
desiring.
lot of parents that they wish there was.
Yes.
No, it's-
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
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 I mean, at this point, if I were a parent, here, I would feel like, where's my voice?
Correct. I think the trick though is in understanding that if you have a PTO, they can voice whatever they would like, but they can't actually affect change.
Right.
We are the body that affects change, right?
There definitely has to be clear
Some-
cut
yeah.
Yeah,
understanding.
so there's, how do you navigate
Define
that and define that?
So for.
And I think it would be cool if this body had like a PTA like thing that was sort of, you could think of it like a work group, right?
Well,
So that
'cause in
we
a
could say,
way-
here are the things that are
Parental
important,
outreach group.
like an outreach group.
Well, yeah, because in a way, you guys, the parents are serving you guys like representatives.
So it's like how I am, how
Yeah,
I'm the.
We're who's here right now. We're
So
the,
it's like,
Yeah.
maybe nothing formal, but you guys certainly could like start meeting with parents who are concerned and then bringing their concerns here to the DAC.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
or
that's,
just a
that's
little
the
bit
way
of
that's
side
been done.
The way I'm
But that's
seeing it-
still different.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
so I
That's
see it
still
as two
different.
different things. This is more
They are.
like leadership.
Correct.
Let's make change kind of group. And then there's this group of like, how do we get people together? How do we
Oh.
So-
community.
pull the community
So-
together, to get a parent group together, to get a kid group
So
together, to get
here, that would be crew parents.
crew parents? But they're already doing a lot, right?
They aren't at the moment.
Okay.
And they should be. And I think some of that is that we need to. And one of the things we can feed back to Jesse and Lindsay, who's sitting right there, is like, how do we get those crew parents engaging in that? Because that's traditionally how we do it.
We.
It should be
so
happening.
The preschool I'm at, our PTO died over COVID because nobody could come in the building and that's just what happened. So over the past 2 years, we've been rebuilding it and it's completely changed. And the way that we're doing it is committees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very organized and they know exactly where their boundaries are and that they can absolutely have a
That's what we
voice.
So that is actually how it was changed. Yeah.
Okay,
So we had we might as well just run through this. We had years and years and years ago, we had a PTO that was sort of just a small group of parents that organized some things. They did a small auction that, so it was small and it was very focused, right here, which was a lovely thing. And then some parents came in and wanted to expand that. And so they took that PTO and they turned it into a nonprofit. And so as soon as they did that, a whole bunch of parents went, I don't want to be responsible for the finances, the tax returns, like that whole, because there's a whole nother level that comes with making it a nonprofit. And so it collapsed. And nobody wanted to run it. And so what happened was it was brought into DAC. We actually put 4 more seats on DAC for the people who would have been in the positions of the PTO. And we had it sort of doing exactly what you said, like committee focus. And some parents didn't like that, complained to the board said, take it back out. So we took it back out, okay, after a few years. And what happened was all those things did become committees within the construct of administration. So like there's a finance group that sort of sits under Chad. There was a volunteering thing that sat under Marcy when Marcy was here, you know, and so there were all those things. And I just think that because of COVID and like it lost its momentum and we need to bring it back. So there's there's history behind it. For sure. And then you have the crew parent part, which really is where the bulk of interacting with the community should be. That's sort of how we do it here, and we bring them. I also think that once you bring parents into the classroom, they're much more engaged on doing other things. So I think we need to revive the whole crew parent thing, and maybe a lot of what you're feeling and experiencing will change.
Yeah.
That's
See,
my
when
personal
I was a
belief.
parent here, there was a lot more parental involvement in the classrooms. There were,
Yeah.
you were expected to volunteer as a parent, you were expected to put in hours, and there were opportunities for you at just about every level to come in and do something. Even if it was just sharpening pencils, you could do something. And that encouraged a significant amount of engagement and respect for staff and appreciation and support for staff. And I miss it.
Huge.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's
Yeah.
the whole point of it, is to lessen the burden of the staff and administration, to make it more of a, this is our school, this is not
Right.
like, we're gonna be here to complain.
Yeah.
Right,
Make
right.
it harder.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not.
right.
And I also
Percent.
think with that survey, I think that that's especially important, because when I was looking at that survey just then, one of the lowest ranked scores was like,
Yeah.
how much they thought the like staff, like, was it like how appreciated they, or I don't know how much they appreciated the staff kind of. So I
Yes.
think that having that would be like incredibly good.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder if we wanna put it in here somewhere of, it's a goal of ours, or we're looking for somebody to rally around that.
Well, that's why I threw out the phrase community involvement or engagement, but didn't call it a PTA.
Fair.
Exactly.
Very fair. Thank you for the history.
It's a hot button. But you know, we have always done the same things as a PTA would do. We just call it something else. But I do think that we've lost it and we need to rebuild it. And I think this group can help with that.
Oh, for sure.
I think we should.
So I think, yeah, if we can somehow figure out a way to blend that in their high. Sure.
Yeah, it's 4:30.
Can you, Chuck, can you share the Word doc of this? The position thing with me, so that I can share it with this team and we can
It's good.